If you're running DS4 Windows while playing competitive shooters, there's 3 settings actively throwing off your aim that you need to change now. I discovered this after tracking targets in Call of Duty. My center dot would lag behind the initial press of my right thumbstick and cause a jerkiness in my aim. This inconsistency made micro adjustments impossible, but after changing these settings, I finally got buttery smooth control over my crosshairs, and the difference was insane. The problem is DS4 works simultaneously with your game's controller settings, meaning that if your game doesn't specify a value, DS4 will fill in the gap and apply its own. In Call of Duty, I can comfortably adjust my horizontal and vertical sensitivities and reduce my dead zones, but there's a jerkiness every time I begin tracking with my right stick. That's because there's a slight delay between my thumb pressing the right stick and the center dot's response, caused by settings in DS4. If we go into DS4, find our controller and hit the edit button, we can immediately see the same dead zone settings we were looking at in game. I'm going to match the values from Call of Duty, setting my dead zone minimum to 0 and my maximum to 0.6 on my left stick because I use it for movement and I want my sprint to activate as quickly as possible. On my right stick, I'm going to set the minimum to 0 and the maximum to 1, so I have full range of motion for refining my aim. But as you can see, I'm still getting that lag, and that's because DS4 has a setting that Call of Duty doesn't, called anti-dead zone. If you want to know what that means, you can hover your mouse and it gives a description, but essentially it's the same as regular dead zone. It keeps the stick numb until you move it past a certain threshold. Once I set that to 0 for both the left and right stick, my aim finally feels the way it's supposed to. Like the center of my screen just doubled in frame count, and it's now possible to make those fine micro adjustments. Not only is DS4 throwing your aim, but it's also slowing down your controller, even with the pulling rate set to max. When I closed DS4, I realized I was still able to play COD normally. Apparently, many games now allow PlayStation controllers to run on PC without additional software. And when I returned to the firing range, my response time felt faster, like my controller was able to take full advantage of its overclock without having to send data through a third-party software. Although DS4 is convenient for assigning macros, I would discourage anyone from using it in competitive gaming. Call of Duty no longer requires it for PlayStation controllers, and it's probably just a matter of time before it becomes obsolete in AAA titles. If you'd like to keep up with tech and gaming tips, consider subscribing. This is Almanax. Until next time.